Pink hair? Are you kidding me? How desperate can you get? My hair. It wasn't my fault that my hair looked like this. Yeah, you punks! Come here, I'm gonna teach you a lesson, said Hana. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is ShdwjGaming, and I would like to welcome all of you to this wonderful game known as Asagao Academy. Now, I know that many of you out there are wondering, ShdwjGaming, what is Asagao Academy? This game is a visual novel that was released around 3 to 4 weeks ago, and as with all or many great visual novels, this game is actually a dating simulator, so you can expect a lot of romance in the story, in the plot, but what makes this game really unique is that it allows players to actually choose one of the Normal Boots members to become their partner. So that's super interesting, getting to go out with YouTubers, I guess. Now, personally, would I ever go out with any of these dudes? As cool as they are, no, I personally prefer a woman to be my partner, but the reason why I want to play this game with you guys is because the characters, the plot, heck, even the music is absolutely charming. I watched a few Let's Plays and streams of some of the Normal Boots dudes playing this game, and I've even had the chance to play this game myself. And let me tell you, I have had such a great experience both watching and playing this game. Credit to Kara, who is the story writer, by the way, who is, I believe, Cheritomo on Twitter, as well as Peanut Butter Gamer's wife, Daniela, I believe is her name, for doing basically all of the CG art and the sprites in this game. This game turned out wonderful, so I want to go ahead and let you guys experience this with me, if you guys don't mind. So let's go ahead and jump right into this game by clicking play. The train made its way along the gentle curve of the coast of Japan, whisking me farther and farther from home. Across from me sat a boy, face half buried in a newspaper. He was deeply entranced in whatever article he was reading and hadn't spoken a single word to me, even when I asked if I could join him in the last compartment with any available space. He shrugged, nodded, and adjusted his newspaper without ever making eye contact. It'd been almost an hour, in fact, and he hadn't once looked at me. Devoid of conversation, I took instead to counting the buttons on the pretentiously lush carmine seat cushions. 1, 2, 3, 21, 22, and so forth over and over, the things that boredom can lead you to do. Now and again I turned to look out the window where the trees were blurring by. Sometimes the smeared green would break and reveal the quiet blue of the Sea of Japan. Such a beautiful description of the environment, of the atmosphere. Eventually this rapidity made my stomach churn, and I went back to counting the buttons on the seat cushions. 1, 2, 3... The train compartment shuddered around us. My eyes wandered to the boy in his jacket. It wasn't the school-issued blue that I and the other students on the train were wearing. Instead, it was a green, varsity-like jacket with an embroidered patch poorly sewn on front. Okay, so, jumping right into this, can you guys guess who this character is? Obviously, from the patch, you can see that he's a Normal Boots character, but you gotta be able to guess who this guy is. He says, "So you're a first year then?" He folded his newspaper neatly, set it in his lap, and looked at me with a half-interested gaze. Did he just catch me staring? Now that the paper was gone, I saw his face. He watched me through heavy-lidded eyes. His hair was immaculately groomed, his teeth straight and blindingly bright. There was something about him, the way the light hit him, that made him look like he was almost sparkling? Yeah, take a look at his animation here, his sprite. There are little sparkles flashing and disappearing around him. Me? He glanced around the compartment, empty beside us, and laughed. Oh, no, I'm not a first year. I'm a third year. The train began to slow, metal wheels groaning against metal tracks. The sudden shift threatened to rob me of whatever was left in my stomach, but I closed my eyes and took a deep breath, willing myself to keep it together. What kind of impression would I leave, puking on a student before I even arrived at the academy? Well, needless to say, that would be a pretty terrible first impression, especially if you're trying to start a new life here, Hana. The boy frowned. I picked at the hem of my cotton skirt. That's not possible. I've never seen you before. It took me a moment of mouth fishing to find a response. So nervous, poor Hana. It's because I'm a transfer student? A bit of uncertainty in her voice there. He laughed again. A transfer student, huh? We don't get many of those. I removed my acceptance letter from the front pocket of my uniform. The paper, heavy weight, off-white, had accumulated creases from my reading and rereading, as if the words might have changed since the last time I read it. The boy took it, studied it, then handed it back to me.
I'll see you around.
Well then, Hana. I'll see you around. I suppose I'll be seeing you around. Yeah, maybe we'll be seeing you around. He smiled at me as he picked up the suitcase lying next to him. By the time I hiccuped a response, he was already gone from the compartment. I stared out into the empty hallway of the train. It was then that I realized he, having gotten it from my acceptance letter, knew my name and I never got his. Okay, let me just say that I just started summer vacation, and just listening to this, or reading this description of students going back to school, I don't know how I feel about that. I'm basically a week into my summer vacation and I've been enjoying it, so I don't even want to think about going back to school right now. The train settled at the station and I filed out with the rest of the uniformed students. It was early April, and the last frost of winter had come and gone. The trees were already green, their leaves shivering in the occasional gust weaving through them. The air was mild, only a few clouds hanging in the sky. My goodness, what a beautiful description of this new environment that Hannah is being thrust into. Right now, it's like super hot in my room, and even though, yeah, it's pretty beautiful outside here where I am, it's really hot in my room. It gets super hot in my room because I guess the positioning of my room with relative to the rest of the rooms in this house, but okay, that's a little bit boring to talk about right now. I walked along the road with a swarm of blue-jacketed bodies, looking at the little groups breaking off from the crowd. Everyone was buzzing so animatedly around me. I held my suitcase tight in my sweaty hands. It was leather-bound and worth more than anything it contained. It wasn't far to the school, and I was, for maybe the first time in my life, thankful that that what I owned didn't amount to much. My school issued black Oxfords. Click, click, clicked on the pavement. I walked this walk over and over in my mind. So many nights I lay awake, imagining what it would be like to walk from the train station to Asagao Academy this first time. Okay, so personally, let me share something about myself quickly. For my high school years, I was homeschooled all 4 years, okay? So I didn't really get to experience that nervousness that I guess freshmen would feel. Yeah, I know that Hana's not a freshman, but it is her first time attending Asagao Academy. So tell me, did you guys ever have that experience, that nervousness, that anxiety the night before going to a new school, or maybe the night before your first day of freshman year? My new start. I always imagined that everything would change for me on this walk. That somehow everything would be magically different. But as I looked around, I realized nothing had changed. I hadn't changed. And that's what's interesting, because personally I did just transfer to a new university myself, being a college student. And there was a part in me that was kind of thinking that my life would be drastically changed, that maybe even I would drastically change. But after stepping onto campus for the very first time and spending like a few days and then eventually a few weeks and then a few months at the university, it's like not much has changed. Sure, the atmosphere and the environment is definitely different than what I was used to, but personally, I felt the same, you know? So I can definitely relate to Hana's initial first experience here. By the time I reached the massive gate to the academy, I forgot all about the disappointment slouching in the back of my throat. Props to, I'm not sure if it was Daniela, I'm sorry, I don't know her name, but PBG's wife, the one that did the sprites for this game. I'm not sure if she was the one that did the backgrounds. I believe I read somewhere that they hired someone else to do the backgrounds, but props to the one that did the backgrounds in this game. By the time I reached the massive gate, I read that already. My bad. The school, framed by the gate's twisted black metal, was just as beautiful as the glossy photos I saw in its pamphlets. This was it, Asagao Academy. I glanced around. The swarm of students gathered around the gate. Beyond it, tiny blue people bounced around the academy's main building. A girl pressed a button to one side of the gate. The excitement in the air was almost palpable. A few moments later, the black gate, with great effort, creaked outwards and cleared the pathway. As the rest of the group shifted into motion, I followed along, a sheep in the herd. My stomach tied itself into knots. The crowd split off in different directions. For a moment, I panicked. Who is this old man? A tired-looking man with graying hair called out for first years, a cluster of freshman-faced students gathering around him. "Come, my children!" Okay, he didn't really say that. Tall boy says, Hey, look at that girl!" I turned. A few feet away, a small group of boys were pointing at me and snickering. "Pink hair? Are you kidding me? How desperate can you get?" Poor Hana. Hot shame crawled down my neck. I attached myself to a group of girls following a few steps behind them. Who do these dudes think they are? Sure, they're in high school already. Could they not at least have learned a good amount of manners, during their middle school years? I attached myself to a group of girls following a few steps behind them. In the distance, cicadas hummed in time to my shoes crunching against the gravel. My hair. It wasn't my fault that my hair looked like this. "Yeah, you punks! Come here, I'm gonna teach you a lesson," said Hana. Luckily, I found myself at the girls' dormitory, a large sign in the lawn reading Primrose House. The building dwarfed me in size and sheer intimidation. How many students did Asagao Academy have? Who is this now? As I approached the building, a red-headed girl lingering nearby caught my attention. I looked away, then looked back. She was staring at me. She walked over. "Are you a nice person?"
"You must be my roommate!"
I eyed her warily. She was smiling and bouncing in a way that suggested her views on life were akin to a perpetual bouncy castle.
"What?"
"Me?
Bingo.
Of course, you silly. Let me guess. Room 325? I thought back to the paper I received a month prior with a list of all the supplies I needed for the year in my dorm arrangements. Yeah, that's right. She laughed, but I couldn't figure out what was so funny. Was she laughing at me? When I found out my roommate was a transfer student, I knew you were going to be a total main character. I'm sorry? A what? You heard her, Han. A main character. That's you.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw you outside the gate, I knew it was you. I mean, look at that hair. Again, mentioning the hair. I felt a lump forming in my throat. What was she talking about? She had to be making fun of me. I hadn't spent more than 5 minutes on campus, and I was already being mocked. Poor Hana, my hands began to tremble. Excuse me. Is there something wrong with my hair? Her face slackened from its amused smile to a more worried expression. Yeah, come on, new character. Didn't you see that our Hana here was already beginning to cry? Then she began to laugh again.
Oh, no. It's great, I'm sorry. We're getting off on the wrong foot, aren't we? Oh, gosh. I'm Mai Sasaki. You must be Hana.
What I didn't mention is that there are actually little snippets of voice acting in this game. And let me tell you, the characters that played Mai and Hana, as a matter of fact, all of the normal boots dudes that did the voice acting for their respective characters did such an awesome job in voice acting. Personally, I wish that I could be a great voice actor. Not that I would want to be a professional voice actor, but I mean, I guess it would make my LPs more entertaining if I were just a little bit better at voice acting, you know what I mean? But anyway, let me shift the focus away from myself. The voice actors in this game did such a great job, and you'll see as we continue through this game. I bowed my head.
Hello.
It's nice to meet you, Mai. All your school books are waiting in our room with your welcome letter. I read the envelope. I hope you're not mad. Not mad? You read my mail? You read my mail, Mai? Mai started walking towards the dorm's front doors. I followed behind like a lost puppy. Oh, lost. Feeling a bit lost and insecure in this brand new campus. Hana, poor Hana. Did you check in at the front desk already? No, I didn't. I didn't know I was supposed to. Good. They'll offer to have a staff member give you a tour of the campus, but I can show you around. We don't get many transfer students in year 3, you know. Yeah, I can imagine. Oh, is that your only bag? Just the one? I'm glad I brought an extra bag of stuff to decorate our room with. I started already. I hope you don't mind. But I did wait to string the lights. I thought we could do it together, you know? I guess that would be a good way for Hana and Mai to bond, right? She spoke quickly, the words bubbling from her mouth, and left me no time to answer until the end of her monologue. Yep. As you guys could tell, clearly an extrovert here. An extrovert on our hands. Yeah, okay, that sounds good. She held the front door open for me and I hurried inside. Girls filed up and down the hallway, howling greetings and exchanging vague niceties that were, more often than not, "How was your break?" and "Look at how tan you got." It seemed like everyone knew each other. Oh man, I can kind of relate to that feeling where you're kind of thrust into this new school environment where it seems like everyone knows each other, but there you are, you're just kind of like twiddling your hands a little, a bit uncertain how you're going to fit in, you know? I followed Mai as she led me through the maze of students and up 2 flights of stairs. Each dorm floor looked the same as the last. Narrow, white doors lining both sides of the pale pink walls. Thin, gold numbers were tacked to the front of each, the numbers rising as we climbed. Dang, this is a ridiculously nice dorm, residence hall. You know, like, the campus where I'm staying, or where I stayed at this last semester, was also very nice, but dang. I mean, just take a look at this picture. Take a look at the way that they describe the residence hall. You're not missing anything with the campus tour, I promise. Mr. Saitomo does them every year and he's like totally dull. He drags you around the entire campus and talks in that weird squeaky voice of his. Is Mr. Saitomo that old dude, or is this some other character? I'll tell you everything you need to know. Why, thank you, Mai. I smiled, trying to let this calm my nerves. Thanks. We headed down a hallway on the 3rd floor. Mai stopped us in front of a door numbered 325. That's our room. Here we are. Wow. I mean, yeah, Hana is a girl, Mai is a girl, but I mean, I guess I can just go ahead and emphasize what a girly room this is. A faint smell of potpourri wafted through the room. Like Wario waft? The walls, like the hallway, were a soft powdery pink. Mai already defaced them with a tapestry of posters, magazine cutouts, and photographs. Yeah, as you guys can see here, like, there are already posters here. Like, personally, I've got some posters in my room here at home. I've got a Skyward Sword poster that's framed. I've got a Hatsune Miku poster, a bunch of other anime posters, but nothing quite like this, you know. Some of the photos were of cats, but most of them were of male models and rugged musicians. Yeah, some of them, as in like 1 out of 4. There's like a very small poster of cats here, and then some dude in underwear, Obsession by Alvin Stein, and he's holding a teddy bear for some reason. I mean, like, I get that a lot of posters in stores like maybe H&M have models in underwear like this, but I've never seen any of them holding a stuffed bear like that. A bit strange, but okay. A bunk bed, 2 writing desks with wooden chairs, a small dresser, and a mirrored vanity, all clearly provided by the school, were the only pieces of furniture in the tiny room. The top bunk was already covered in neatly tucked blankets and throw pillows of clashing patterns and colors. The bottom bunk had a single, stiff-looking pillow and a thin cotton blanket that I didn't need to touch to know was horribly itchy. I must have grimaced because Mai quickly smiled at me. I brought way too many pillows and blankets. I always overpack. I went to Italy over break and Mom got really mad at me because I brought 5 bags, but we were only there for a week. Okay, so this past semester, I kind of feel like I did end up overpacking at the beginning of the semester because over the last 4 months, like, I didn't even use all the clothes that I had packed, and I don't know. She laughed, pulled several blankets and pillows from her bunk, and rearranged them neatly on mine. A sudden twinge of guilt and embarrassment hit me.
Perfection.
There, that's much better. Thanks, Mai. I placed my suitcase on the bottom bunk and began to unpack its contents. Several changes of clothing, pens and pencils, empty notebooks, a few photographs of my father, a dilapidated stuffed rabbit, an old portable radio, and a small black box. Okay, now I'm kind of wondering what's inside that small black box. They make it sound so mysterious. Mai opened the curtains and the sunlight poured in. So, where are you from? I slid the now empty suitcase under the bottom bunk. About 2 hours north of here, it's a small town called Amaririsu. I don't know if that's how you properly pronounce it. I set the stuffed rabbit, Mr. Bunny, on my bed beside a purple and teal throw pillow. Oh, did you go to a different boarding school, or... No, I went to a public school down the street from my house. Public school? What was that like? Were the students mean? Did you have a lot of friends? I always went to a private school. My parents work a lot, and my dad goes overseas, so I think they stuck me here for convenience. So I'm kind of like Mai. Not the whole part about her parents sticking her in a private school for convenience, but the fact that during my school years, when I actually went to a school, it was a private school. And as I told you guys already, when I wasn't going to a private school, I was being homeschooled. So yeah, I never did go to a public school myself. Oh hey, what's that? I'd removed an ornately patterned origami crane from the black box and was setting it on the unclaimed writing desk, so that was inside that black box. Not so mysterious anymore. Oh, this? My mother made it for me a long time ago. I set it beside a stack of thick textbooks, which I assume were provided for me. Wow, it's so pretty. I've never seen paper like that before. Oh yeah, the lights. Let me get them. Mai went to her own desk, opened the drawer, and pulled out a long, tangled string of fairy lights. Ooh, fairy lights. Yep, that's definitely the kind of lighting that I'd like to have in my own room. As a matter of fact, okay, this might just be me, but why would you hang a string of lights against the wall when clearly, as you guys can see, there are ceiling lights already? I mean, maybe that's me just being a little bit boring, I guess, but fairy lights. I thought these would look nice. Here, let me, help me string them up. Like I said, definitely a great way for these two to bond. She grabbed a container of push pins, then pulled her wooden desk chair out and over to one wall. I did the same with my own. Together we pinned the lights around the perimeter of the room. How was the train ride over? Did you meet anyone? No, not really. I was in a compartment with some guy and...
What?
Some guy, huh? Was he cute? Oh, yeah, I guess. I don't know, I wasn't really paying attention. I didn't even get his name. But he got yours, Hana. Mai seemed disappointed for a moment, then perked back up. You'll have to point him out to me if you see him again. Okay. Once we finished stringing the lights, Mai climbed down from her chair and brushed her hands together triumphantly.
Yeah!
Done! Okay, now it's time for lunch. The food here is pretty good. There's this ramen place down the street from campus that's like out of this world, but the school only lets us leave campus on weekends. Mai walked to the window. We could go today because it's Sunday and it's pretty nice out, but I guess you might want to go to the caf since you just got here. We could... She was suddenly interrupted by her own enthusiastic laughter. Oh my gosh, Mimi Santos totally just tripped outside and fell on her face. I saw it. Oh, is that mean to laugh? Maybe I shouldn't have. Just maybe. Okay, what do you guys think of Mai so far? What do you... Okay, I'm kind of talking like this is a Twitch chat, but really, what do you guys think of Mai so far? I really like her so far, honestly, because she is very welcoming, first of all. She is an extrovert, which kind of goes well with Hana's personality, which kind of sounds weird with her being an introvert. But, I mean, I guess because Hana is kind of introverted and may not know how to start a conversation, Mai knows how to fill in the gaps there, you know? Oh well, anyways, let's go eat. I'm totally starved. She led me out of the room before I even had a chance to respond. So quick! So energetic, let me tell you that. The cafeteria was buzzing with students excited for the new year. The only people as nervous looking as I felt were the tables of skittish, wide-eyed first years. Them freshmen. I don't remember where I heard this, but like when I was still a young freshman, I guess it was at one of my youth groups maybe, but they referred to the freshmen as fresh meat, which is a bit I feel like it's kind of a stereotypical way of viewing freshmen. Like, do people really treat freshmen like that in high schools as fresh meat where they are picked on constantly by the older students? I don't know. Like I said, I didn't go to a public high school. I stepped into line behind Mai, taking an empty plastic tray. We shuffled through, asking for helpings from the sulky cafeteria workers when we passed something that looked good. With full trays, Mai led me straight to a table in the back where a few students were already sitting. Mai sat down, and I took a seat across from her. Who is this now? Hi, Mai, how was your break? It was good. I went to Italy and Spain. Dang, okay, that sounds like a wonderful summer vacation. Normally, my summer vacations consist of, you know, staying in my hometown, which is not bad at all, but dang, Italy and Spain, I want to go out of country again. Dad fell off a ski jet and broke his... Okay, that's not as wonderful. It's better now, though. Oh, well, that's nice. I expected to be introduced, but the girl turned back to her group of friends and Mai turned back to me. Snob! What a snob. Why are you blushing, Mai? She began to assault her food with a fork and tell me, in a practically minute-by-minute account, about her fleeting romance last summer with a boy she met on the beach that didn't go further than a few salty kisses. I sat back and let Mai talk. For the first time since arriving on campus, I felt like I was finally able to breathe. I picked at my Brussels sprouts and studied Mai as she spoke. The more she talked, the more I began to notice small details about her.
Well...
She had a high, songbird voice.
What?
She was dynamic, her face twisting this way and that into exaggerated expressions as she spoke. She laughed often. She imitated people in wildly unflattering voices, seemingly unrelated to her actual opinion of them. But most notably, she talked a lot. I didn't find this particularly annoying, as it filled a silence, and she hardly ever asked questions that required my full attention. See, just like I said, many times, the introverted personality tends to, I guess, mesh well with the extroverted personality, even though it might not seem like that. I mean, think about it. Like, you got two introverts in a room, and they're both, you know, they haven't met each other yet, so for both of them, it would be a bit hard to break the ice, I guess, but when you got an extrovert there, then that's when the ball gets rolling, you know? Just as Mai was rounding off a shockingly detailed account at the time she accidentally walked in on her friend's older brother in the act of changing. Oh boy, okay. A flash of a familiar green caught my eye. I glanced over. Hey, that's him. Huh? Who? I leaned across the table to whisper, just in case he could hear me through the ambient chatter of the lunchroom. The boy from the train. That's him.
What?
Jared? Yeah, with the weird green jacket and swoopy hair. Okay, by the way, were you guys able to successfully guess that was Pro Jared in the train with us? He just picked up his tray and was walking past us when something seemed to catch his eye. Oh, you. I looked up at him, suddenly realizing he was talking to me. Hana, I met you on the train. How are things settling down for you? Really well. I found my roommate and she's been helping me out. I gestured to Mai, who was thunderstruck. In fact, looking around, everyone was. People stopped eating to turn and stare at Jared and me. My shoulders bunched around my neck. Well, if you ever need any help, I'll be around. Third year, right? Oh, he remembered. I nodded.
All right.
Some of my friends are in that year. Of course, they can't compare to me, but I'll give them the heads up to look out for you. Okay, why is Jared so cocky here? His character seems really cocky. He flashed a dazzling smile, then winked. Dang, okay, and super confident in himself too. Like, confidence is great and all, but I don't know, like, honestly, because obviously I'm not a girl, guys, but I always wondered, like, how some girls would react to, I guess, the personality types of some men. Like, for example, I wonder how you female audience out there, how would you react to such a confident dude? Like, is that something that is, I guess, that people swoon over easily, or is that really just in visual novels like this? I feel like it's just in visual novels like this. It's the least I can do for such a cute girl, and yeah, the confidence doesn't stop. Well, I'll see you around. I love Jared's character here, though. It's hilarious. I watched a torrent of thoughts raging through my head as he took a seat next to a bunch of guys who were all wearing the same jacket. That's Jared! She tore her eyes away from him and looked at me.
He's so cute.
He's the most beautiful guy in school. Oops. Oh, I accidentally went back. Yeah, I didn't explain this before, but you can use your mouse wheel to go back to, I guess, text that you might not have read fully. So yeah, fun fact. Although I kind of did it on accident.
He's so cute.
Okay, yeah, I read that already.
Oh, Jared.
I can't believe... Oh, Jared. I can't believe he just looked at me. I looked at Mai. Her cheeks were glowing an indecent pink. Yeah. Oh, she's so adorable when she blushes like that. Why do they all wear those jackets? Aren't all the guys supposed to wear blue blazers as part of their uniform? No, they're allowed to. They're... you know Jared? And here's this girl again. Oh, and... okay, all of a sudden she wants... all of a sudden, I have become someone of interest to her. I wonder why. That girl turned back around and was looking at me with sudden interest. Shallow. Miss Shallow. Did I know him? I only talked to him on the train for a few minutes, so not really. We weren't friends or anything. But looking around, Mai and this girl weren't the only ones who were interested. Everybody seemed to be listening in. They seemed so surprised when he talked to me. Maybe a little white lie couldn't hurt? Okay, guys, so here is basically the only form of gameplay in this game. But this is what's fun about visual novels. For those of you that aren't, I guess, visual novel experts, or regulars, I guess would be the proper term. For those of you that aren't visual novel regulars, in most visual novels, they give you this opportunity to make a decision, and depending on the choice that you make, it will alter the turn of events throughout the story. So I don't really know how this decision here will alter the story. I feel like, because it's the very beginning, it will only be, I guess, it will only affect the story in a very small way, a very minor way. But personally, Hana, I don't think that you should be telling even white lies. I mean, really, you don't know the guy. You just met him on the train, and sure, now you know his name, but it's not like you really know him, you know? So, not really. Oh, and look at her. See? She's Miss Shallow. She's all of a sudden so upset at me. What did I do? I was just telling you the truth. Just because I don't know some guy that you might be interested, you're going to scowl at me like that? I don't appreciate that one bit. She looked me up and down, sniffed, and turned away. Mai leaned towards me. Don't mind Mimi. She was just trying to get in with you. Yeah, I could tell. Get in with me? Why? Well, you asked me about those guys in their jackets, right? Those are the Normal Boots Club jackets. They're... what? What's Normal Boots Club? And here, our favorite YouTubers, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Normal Boots Club. It's a club we have at school here. It's like totally exclusive and full of only the coolest students. They get together and play video games or something. That one right there is John, also known as JonTron. His bird's name is Jacques. John is also the president of the drama club here at school. Next to him is PBG. He and John founded the Normal Boots Club together. PBG is one of the best soccer players on our team. And yes, even in real life, you guys know Normal Boots, right, on YouTube? That little, I don't want to use the word organization, but it is basically an organization on YouTube. It really was founded by JonTron and PBG. And while we're here talking about PBG, let me go ahead and say that if you guys didn't know, PBG is one of my biggest inspirations on YouTube. If you guys haven't checked out any of his videos yet, be sure that right after this episode that you go over to that you go over to Peanut Butter Gamer on YouTube and check out his top 10s, his reviews. They are hilarious. But he also has a Let's Play channel, which is a PBG Gameplay. Yeah, PBG Gameplay. So definitely check that out as well. But continuing on. Then there's Gerard. People call him the completionist because he's obsessed with completing things. He has the biggest itty bitty kitty collection I've ever seen. And what I love about this game is that it brings in their YouTube usernames, or I guess their YouTube, what's the word? Not pen names. That's not pen names, but their names, the names that they use on YouTube. I can't talk today. I'm sorry. But yeah, the completionist here, another YouTuber that you guys should definitely check out. Highly recommended. Next to him is Jared, also known as Pro Jared. He's a model. Then there's Satchback, but everyone calls him Satch. He's like crazy smart. And yeah, if you guys took a look at even one of his videos, yeah, you definitely get that vibe as well. Those guys over there are Paul, Nick, and Josh. They write a column in the school paper called Continuum. Paul, the one standing up, is the student council president. And the guy on the end there is Shane. He knows more about video games than anyone, ever. And for those of you that don't know Shane, Shane is the one that basically manages ShdwjGaming on YouTube. So yeah. She exhaled a dreamy sigh into her mashed potatoes. Okay. So, how would someone, join the Normal Boots Club? You don't choose the boots, Hana. The boots choose you. What does that even mean? You have to be presented the boots to be in the club, and they're like super selective. What are the boots? The club has this boot statue. It's like the one on their patches, but it's gold plated. It's their mascot, I guess? They do this weird initiation ritual with it. Ritual? I hear they fill a room with candles and wear these totally creepy robes during initiation. This year 2 girl said she saw it once and they were all like chanting around the boots and it sounded like they were talking backwards. Okay, this is getting a little bit creepy, but I don't believe her. And even if it's true, I don't care if they're a cult because they're all really hot. Do they have a lot of friends? Yeah. Tons of friends. I'd say they're the most popular kids in school. I mean, everyone in school totally looks up to them. I bet they could get any girl in school too. And yeah, personally, I do look up to the Normal Boots members. Not in the way that the girls here do, but in that they are such a huge inspiration to so many YouTube gamers. Or boy, for that matter. Hey, are you gonna eat your cake? Oh, excuse me. I shook my head and pushed the plastic tray across the table to her. Okay, now I'm getting kind of hungry, legit. For the remainder of lunch, I listened to my talk about Jared through mouthfuls of half-dissolved frosting. Yuck! Back at the dorm, I sorted through the pile of textbooks the school left for me. My radio was playing a poppy tune, equal parts music to static. Mai fervently scribbled in a notebook at her desk, hunched over it with strikingly poor posture. Oh no, that's not good. That's not good, Mai. Make sure that you sit with a straight back, cause you don't want to grow with a hunchback. Legit. That's the life lesson of today. As I stretch, take a quick break from reading it. From reading the text, I mean. Don't slouch, kids. Hey, Mai? She didn't bother to look up. Am I supposed to have a textbook for History 309? She shuffled through the papers on her desk before producing a thick textbook. A demure man in a powdered wig frowned at me from the cover. Yeah, this one. I sighed. I don't have that one. The school must have missed it. Mai shrugged and set the textbook back in her pile. That's my textbook, isn't it, Mai? You saw that the school provided the textbooks for me, and you went through my pile of textbooks, didn't you? And you put it on your shelf. I accuse you, Miss Mai, of stealing one of my textbooks. That's an awful thing to do to a transfer student. That is really an awful thing to do to a transfer student. No, I'm just kidding. Why would we accuse Mai of such a thing? Like, we might not know her that well yet, but like I said, her personality is very charming. They have a bunch at the library. You can just check one out. Where's the library? Mai riffled through her notebook and wrote something down. She tore the page out and handed me a crudely drawn map. Oh, okay, well, I'll be back in a bit. Alright, ladies and gents, I believe that this is a good stopping point for this episode. What is going to happen to Hana at the library? Is she merely going to get her textbook, or is something a little bit more interesting gonna happen? I'm pretty sure it's the latter. But anyway, thank you guys very much for tuning in. I will see you guys in the next episode of Asagao Academy. But until then, you guys take care.